A quarter or two into the Panthers game, it was like, hey, man, we got to get rid of Jalen Hurts, man. Like, somebody got to do something about this. Somebody, please, save us. They don't necessarily love Jalen Hurts as their starting quarterback. I get it. He hasn't earned the right to be loved. If you want to look at it, his passer rating ranks 20th. His completion percentage ranks 21st. His passing yards per attempt rank 19th. And passing touchdowns, they're tied for 17th. So Jalen Hurts hasn't done anything yet to win the affection of the Eagles. But y'all got to remember, the owner of the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, a man who cut us both some checks, Sanchez is bigger than mine. Jeffrey Lurie of the Eagles wrote the foreword to Doug Peterson's book, How to Be a Champion. Doug Peterson writes a book, and he's out as a head coach in a year. And the owner then wrote the foreword to the Super Bowl winning coach, the first Super Bowl for the team. If they ain't love him, you think they love you, Jalen Hurts? No, not yet. So Jalen Hurts definitely has to show the Eagles fans, everybody, that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm going to agree. But here's what I'll say is the market that he's in is completely unfair. It's pretty fickle. It's week to week, at times drive to drive, quarter to quarter. It's
tough.
Yeah. He's 10 games into his career, guys. I mean, I see the numbers he's posting. He's just past middle of the pack, just worse or below middle of the pack.
Yeah.
It's not terrible for your 10th start, okay? That's not bad. He's 5 games into a new system. That's tough. That's tough for a rookie. That's tough for a second-year guy. Look at Tom Brady, how long it took for him to get entrenched in Bruce Arians' system, okay? They were 7-5 at one point, right? Then ripped off a bunch of wins in a row. Also, 80% plus of this offense goes through him.
True.
It's all RPO. It's all gadget. It's all read option. I mean, there's a lot of offense that he's dealing with. There's a lot on his plate. And who's there to help him? Who's really there to help him right now? Ertz? I mean, that offense doesn't lend itself to having a tight end like Ertz. It doesn't make sense. Ertz can be used somewhere else. He might jump on with a really good team and go make a run somewhere because they're going to use him. Their defensive line hurt right now. It's not the same team that Nick Foles took to the playoffs with Alshon Jeffries and Nelson Aguilar. They got Devontae Smith, promising young talent, but they need some more help in the receiving core. They're finally getting Gainwell involved, but they don't do a ton with their running backs, right? Like, they don't run the ball a lot, okay? It's so early and so premature to make a decision on somebody like him. He's shown you enough. All I'm saying is, if you say yes, he's our franchise guy, you will always have to gadget, scheme, formate, personnel, a game plan to death because he is limited in his drop back passing ability. I really think that.
Oh, we're going to get into that next layer. Just to answer the question, does he still need to prove he's a franchise quarterback? If you say yes, you're right. If you say no, you're also right. That's the problem with this one. Let's be real. It's not just Philadelphia, the only place I ever got hit with a frozen battery. I don't know what the hell. I lived in Buffalo and they weren't throwing batteries, but in Philly they were. So many opportunities are afforded just based on perception.
Of course.
And that perception could be just draft status. I always tell this story because it really humbled me. And it also let me know that there were inequities in the NFL from hello. First training camp as a rookie, I'm a second-round draft choice. So only one dude got it better than me as a rookie, right? And that was Antoine Smith. But there was this guy, undrafted, Pat Williams. Pat was killing camp, undrafted. Pat was killing camp, undrafted. They kept pumping me up. I was like, dog, he way better than me. What y'all doing? We playing the same position. He killing me. Yeah. But I was afforded opportunities to grow and blossom based on draft status. Now, this is a different one because he's a second-rounder himself. All of a sudden replacing a franchise quarterback in Carson Wentz, it should be yours, red carpet. But it wasn't red carpet, and that was the first stone thrown. We should have known at that moment, you get rid of a franchise quarterback at $128 million on a contract, and then you just don't give the keys over to the next guy who just replaced him? I wonder why. And then this comes to mind. As a man thinketh, so is he. And as Howie Rosen thinketh, so is Jalen Hurts. As Nick Sirianni thinketh, so is Jalen Hurts. And I don't think they think well of him. I don't think they think highly of him. And that's the predicament he finds himself in. But if I'm Jalen Hurts, I got to find somebody. I got to get me my agent. I got to get me the homeboy in the league. Somebody has to point out, I am leading the Eagles in passing yards, rushing yards, and scrimmage touchdowns. Wait a minute, dog.
The whole offense.
The whole offense. Yeah. Am I Lamar Jackson? And if I am, y'all not throwing dirt on Lamar Jackson like this, so why are you trying to do it to me, especially when I've only started 9 games? So back to my original statement. If you think he needs to prove it, you're right. If you don't think, you're right.
I don't think this was the original plan. I think they thought Carson's our guy. Jalen is supplemental. He's an addition. He's our Taysom Hill-ish, right? And if he has to, squeak out a couple wins towards late in the season because Carson's banged up, fine, we could ride with him. But this wasn't the original idea. They didn't think it would be so fragile with the QB1 with Carson. Getting upset about the pick, which I understand.
But here's a real issue, though, Sanchez, and let's be honest with everybody, y'all. Comparison is the thief of joy. It don't matter how good you have it in this life. If you start looking right, if you start looking left, and somebody got it better than you, then you'll forget how good you have it.
Yes.
Look around, man. You got Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles have it okay. But when you look at Justin Herbert, and he was thrust into action, and he balls, and all of a sudden he sets a rookie touchdown record. When you look at Joe Burrow, and he has more 300-yard games than any rookie quarterback. When you look at Kyler Murray, and him and his small stature is currently the MVP favorite. When you look at Lamar Jackson, and he was the 32nd overall pick, and now he's put the team on his back.
But you
when you
never
look at Josh Allen,
like that.
When you look at Josh Allen, when you look at all these young quarterbacks, Sanchez, you start to realize, wait a second. Do we have the worst of the young quarterbacks? And you don't even care that you have it okay. You just mad that you got it worse than everybody else. And I think that's where Eagles fans are. They're just where a lot of people are in life. Like, you can have a great amount of money. You can have a great amount of anything. But if somebody got more than you, then all of a sudden you like, wait a second, I ain't got it that good.
Yes.
And that's where the Eagles fans are. So either Jalen Hurts, you change your actions, or you pray that 55,000 people at Lincoln Financial Field will change theirs. And as good as they ain't going to change.
I mean, you're comparing the elite of elite, okay? And I never thought Jalen, even in college, was elite. Those other guys you mentioned, those workouts, their pro days, I mean, no offense, but he's the next tier below that. Just on talent, I think, on, accomplishments you can't say because he did a lot. He won a lot of games. But pure talent-wise, you're right. He's that next tier below all of his peers.
But can't we all agree on this? Because before Herbert was drafted, we did not think Herbert was going to be that good.
You didn't know for sure.
A lot of people did.
A lot of people saw the talent. Like, that's different than the production.
Watching him on tape is different than watching him on tape.
But that's
like, not even
Lamar Jackson. We didn't think Lamar Jackson was going to be this good.
The talent, though, that's a different conversation.
It's different. It's a different. He doesn't wow you. Yeah. Is he good enough to win? Absolutely. But what did I say? You got to formate it. You got to scheme it.
Okay, let's do this at least. Dak Prescott. Can we all at least agree on this one?
I was on the Dak train from the jump.
There you go. That's day one. That's day one. But he said something. I'm like, you said something telling.
He's a pure passer. He can drop back and sling it. When the chips are down, when it's fourth quarter, game's on the line, everybody's job's on the line. I trust Dak. I trust Justin Herbert. I trust these guys to drop back and throw. That's not what he does well.
And
Jalen Hurts just doesn't do that well.
It's so good to have him on here every single week. He just broke it down to us. He said, I never thought he was elite. He watched the tape from college. Never get a second chance to make what? First impression. They watched the tape from college. And then they see him in practice. They see him in the games, and they're like, that's not elite. That's productive. Once again, we're repeating what we saw in college.
He can be
productive. But
he can be a winner.
Yeah, but if you never think he's elite, as a man thinketh, so is he. Yes. So is Jalen Hurts stuck in that. And then he got stuck two ways. One, that early film told everyone he's tier 2 in terms of elite talent. And second, he had to replace Carson Wentz. And I don't know what kind of relationships y'all been in, but when I broke up and got my heart broke, and this organization got his heart broke, what's wrong with you, Carson? Why you can't play well? And now you mad? Oh, we got to break up. That night, watch Marcellus. He out. I'm in them streets. I was up Sunset, La Cienega. Look out. And that Club Connect wasn't going to last long, right? And Jalen Hurts is the Club Connect. Like, he just, after Carson Wentz, girl, stay away from him right now. He ain't right. This organization is not right. They're not properly assessing who he is. Because who is he? Jalen Hurts was better than Lamar Jackson last year. Look at these numbers. 282 yards per game.
He wasn't better than Lamar Jackson. You can say he was better at things than Lamar Jackson.
I'm going to say it again. He was better at Lamar Jackson game to game starting their career.
In the first
Thank
three
you.
games?
86 passer.
Qualify it
In
then.
the first three games.
He was better than Lamar Jackson. He only played 3 games.
In the first 3 games of his career.
Yeah, that was the end of the sentence. But you didn't let me get to that point.
Lead with the headline. They tell you on television, lead with the headline.
I'm a radio guy. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry, I'm reading the prompter right now. That's all I could do. Coming up, some players need to show us something in week 6. He was better a little bit. We'll name drop about that and the league's most intriguing matchup next on Speak for Yourself. Got a passer rate?